A safety management system is quite simply 4 components with 15 associated elements. The CASA advice and advisory material gives fairly clear guidance on what those are, and they align very closely with safety management systems that exist in other industries, but more importantly with the ICAO model. Many of these organisations will already have elements established in their organisation, and it's just a case of looking at what is required, what they currently have, and doing a very simple gap analysis. Both the CASA material and the ICAO safety management manual give very clear and easy checklists so organisations can identify that gap.
CASA embraces safety management for several reasons. Firstly, it's customer driven, that our mining contracts expect that. Secondly, it's part of the business continuity program of the company itself. The benefits of a safety management system are not only for the organisation, but it's for everyone within it. The cost of an accident to a small organisation can be catastrophic. Not only could it be the loss of life, the loss of income, but it could destroy the organisation. By introducing a safety management system in a small organisation, you can mitigate those risks and conduct operations safely within your environment to have that business continuity, and that is the ultimate goal of a business.
A safety management system is really an illustration of what a lot of us would say is common sense. But why is common sense not that common sometimes? And it's because you're too close to the system. You're too close to the safety issues. If you get the chance to step back out of the system, have a look at the big picture, all of a sudden you can take in where there are hazards, the obvious hazards, some not so obvious. As you go along your day-to-day business, they call it practical drift. Daily activities can sometimes change or move away from a safety behaviour because it's faster, it's easier, it's at the time feels more efficient, or it's cheaper. So you get practical drift away from safety behaviours unless you have the tools in place to give yourself a checkpoint and step back and say, oh, we need to check this. That's where things like a safety management system, checklist tool is a good tool to have as well.
I think a prerequisite for building the elements, the skeleton of a safety management system, is to have some kind of incident or error reporting system. Now, in a small organisation, it's merely a question of getting people to share war stories. This is something that people are very willing to do. I regard war stories, the telling of stories in some, either an informal or formal way, is a very important way of sharing safety-related information, hazard-related information. That would be something, as a regulator, that I would be fairly happy to see, that this was a culture, was face-to-face and talked to each other, told each other war stories. Beyond that, then I would see what do they do with the stories. I mean, merely telling them may not be enough. You have to go on to the process of analysis, or at least learning the lessons from these stories. I mean, information by itself is not particularly important unless it is acted upon in some way. An effective safety management system is more about the mindset, about the attitude of mind, about the way you regard your business and the way you treat your hazards, than it is necessarily about resources and about cost.
It's getting everyone on board, and it's the culture. I look for a good safety culture. It's having it in the people's mindset, because we have very capable people that are used to being very self-reliant, and it's bringing them back in a bit closer and creating a culture of good communication and proactively being interested in identifying hazards and forwarding the information through our system. Because once you get information, you can do something with it. For a good safety culture to develop, I think it's definitely good leadership. We certainly have that from our management. They endorse the safety management system. They want someone to advocate for them on behalf of their beliefs with safety management, and that's why they've invested in employing myself and other people to help run the safety management. There's a lot of time that goes in just to writing the documentation.
So an SMS aims to formalise and document what's actually happening. So it involves having a written report or where events can be input into a database, and then documented actions on what can occur to mitigate against that happening again. A gap analysis is looking at what you've got in place now and where you want to go. There's plenty of literature out there. CASA's got some material on what a safety management system should comprise of.
Many organisations will see a safety management system as a regulatory burden, a compliance requirement only, but it's not. It's about an investment in safety, and the long-term effects of that are huge. It doesn't produce income for an organisation, but what it does do is it prevents you having to spend money on damage, incidents, repairs, etc. And furthermore, it creates the long-term safety culture within an organisation that it has a long-term benefit that is immeasurable in a dollar value.